Welcome back to the show. Climate change, we're talking about it constantly, but of course we need to raise more awareness. There are a lot of wonderful documentaries, films out there, a lot of wonderful personalities too talking about it constantly. And we have a great opportunity for you to see a wonderful documentary called Do the Math. The screening is happening very shortly. We're joined by two gentlemen to tell us about a wonderful organization and the screening. We're joined by David Rhynas. He is an executive member of 350 Ottawa. David, welcome to the show. Great to have you here. And Muthanna Subbaiah, he is the chair of 350 Ottawa. Welcome. Great to have you here.
Thanks,
and let's talk about 350 because this is a larger organization than just being here in Ottawa.
Absolutely.
What is the purpose and mission of 350?
Well, essentially it's to solve the climate crisis. The large parent organization is a global organization run purely by volunteers. Thousands of volunteers. We operate in 188 countries. And this is a local chapter that we've created. And the name 350 itself comes from the research that James Hansen did, who's a leading climate scientist, and his team at NASA, and they concluded that 350 was the upper limit of how much carbon dioxide there can be in the atmosphere.
Right.
And if you've been following the news, we've just hit 400. That's parts per million. So that's the upper limit of what can be sustainable for our way of life.
And David, I think there was a real focus on climate change for a while there. Of course, big films that came out talking about it and documentaries. I think the media attention has kind of waned a bit, but it's probably more crucial than ever to raise awareness. And
absolutely. Even though there sometimes seems to be a debate in the media about this whole climate change thing, in fact, there's a very strong scientific consensus that global warming is happening and is being caused by human activity, primarily burning of fossil fuels. So virtually every National Academy of Science around the world, every scientific society, 98% of peer-reviewed scientific papers, they're all on side with this. And basically, what we've observed over the last 200 years is the Earth is gradually getting warmer, and that's because we have more carbon dioxide, which is trapping heat. And as a result, we're seeing more extreme weather events.
Yeah.
So it's not even just a global warming. We're actually suffering from actual large climate changes. I think we're experiencing them in our own city now. So going back to 350, what is the mission of 350 in conjunction with the climate changes?
So specific to Ottawa, what we found is the Canadian society and the landscape here is slightly different to the United States.
Right.
And 70% of Canadians still think that expanding the tar sands is a great idea.
Okay.
Because they've been sold on this idea that prosperity and the tar sand expansion equate to each other.
Right.
And it's a false bubble. So what we want to do, our mission is three parts. Part one, we want to raise awareness at a local level of what it means, what climate change means to us, to our children, to our way of life. Two, we want to push for divestment. That's our strategy. Our strategy is to ask organizations, to ask cities, pension funds, community associations to divest their asset mix from fossil fuels, pull it out of fossil fuels, and invest in sustainable energy.
Right.
And that's not just for economic reasons, even though it makes economic sense as well, but it's a moral reason. And if we hold the fossil fuel companies accountable for polluting and causing this destruction that we're facing.
I mentioned a lot of great documentaries out there. Do the Math is one of those documentaries. Tell us a little bit about Do the Math.
Yeah, so it basically follows Bill McKibben, who's our founder, and a leading speaker on the climate and environmental movement. And it's about three basic numbers. It's the 2 degrees Celsius is what all countries in the world have agreed is the upper limit of how much warmer we can get this planet.
Okay.
It's about, then we take that and we say, okay, how much carbon dioxide can we dump into the atmosphere before we hit that 2 degrees, which is 565 gigatons.
Okay.
And then we look at what reserves these oil companies have. Not what they're spending millions of dollars expanding into, but what they already have. And that's 2,795 gigatons. So over 5 times of what the most conservative estimates show us is needed. So by 2030, we'll hit the 2 degrees Celsius and the 560. So what we want to do is we basically want to stop them and keep the oil in the ground.
Right.
And that's what the movie is about. It shows the facts and allows people to move away from the ideological, theological conversation around global warming to fact-based and
I think we as a matter of fact, we have a clip of the film. Let's have a quick look at the clip.
If it's wrong to wreck the climate, it's wrong to profit from that wreckage.
2012 was the hottest year in the United States since scientists started keeping records.
My guest, Bill McKibben, our nation's leading environmentalist.
We're building the kind of political movement that will change things. As of tonight, we're taking on the fossil fuel industry directly. These companies are a rogue force. We're no longer at the point of trying to stop global warming. Too late for that. We're trying to keep it from becoming a complete and utter calamity. Carbon in the atmosphere created.
There's an idea of what you can expect. All happening tomorrow night at the Hintonburg Community Center. That's July the 23rd, and there's going to be a Q&A afterwards,
Yes,
right?
yeah. So David is going to be there. He's going to give his talk, and then we're going to stick around for questions and answers, and how people can get involved and share some of our future events as well.
Terrific. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. We are going to show the final product of our first of 5 junior chefs right after the break. Don't go anywhere. We're back with Antonio right after this.